Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want. Yeah, rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooter's gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I won. Yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python. Grab what I like real fast, so until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest.
welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. Woo, Hump day, wild day for sure. Um, Yesterday we had that big earthquake, that 8.8. It kept going up. It went from 8.0, 8.7, 8.8. Uh, it's just was a big event. I'm happy that the tsunami didn't develop. And some areas did get a tsunami and so forth, but it didn't like generated a huge tsunami event. I did say yesterday that I wanted to calm down and not generate so much energy and not be such a big tsunami, and it worked. It really did calm down. I went to sleep, and as I was sleeping, the downgradation of the tsunami was happening, and I'm very happy for that. And yeah, it's the world is we're in a very particular time in history right now, and things are just happening on a daily basis. It's overwhelming at times, and it's scary at times, but this is the times that we're living in. And I also wanted to talk about like what happened with that New York shooting and that skyscraper shooting that supposedly the individual was targeting the NFL with I'm just gonna go in there and kill him. But I believe that that's not the case. I mean, that's the narrative that they want to run in the media, and they want to put the focus back on the CTE and stuff, and that's great. But I don't think this was a part of the NFL thing. I don't even think this had anything to do with the NFL. Yeah, he had a letter written and talking about CTE and he want his brain to be studied and this and that. I go, that's nice, but sir, you never played for the NFL. You never played like it doesn't I would understand if it was a veteran that played like 20 years or 15 years in the NFL, and then he went berserk and went in there and wanted to take out like the whole office, right? But the story doesn't add up, and then like a lot of things don't add up in that story. The amount of ammunition he had on him, the guns, the type of weapons he had on him. Why would you carry around an M4? Like that's a huge ass weapon. Why would you carry that to an office and trying to kill people with that big ass weapon? It just, and then he also had a revolver. It just the story doesn't add up. The energy doesn't add up. I feel like there's more to it than meets the eye, and it has a lot to do with the floor that he landed on, which is that 33rd floor. What a number to land on, right? 33rd floor, and it's that black, was it Blackstone, Black Rock, whatever they want to call themselves. And the fact that he shot and killed the CEO and a couple of people from there, it's just, I don't know. The story doesn't add up. It's just I think the NFL letter and that note was just to throw the media and the people off. But he wasn't there for the NFL. I don't think so. I think he was there for the black whatever that black office, Black Rock, Black whatever. I forgot the name of it. But let's see some news on it, so maybe we'll get refreshed on the name. It's just crazy times. That's what we're living in. Let's catch up on some news on it. But I believe he was not there for the NFL thing. But they're trying to push the NFL narrative, but I don't think so.
In the Big Apple early this week on Monday night, a live picture right now there. As you can see here, just about 5:20 local time, as we're learning new information about the gunman, the suspect, and potentially some of the operation behind it. Let's bring into the conversation right now Fox 5's Arthur Chien. Arthur, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. What more can you tell us about what authorities are saying and some of the images they've released?
Yeah, a lot of movement on this shooting. Experts, Andy, are telling us that the investigation is looking at a couple of things, but it's one of the key things they're looking at is whether or not the gunman threatened the NFL before embarking on that long drive from Las Vegas all the way to Midtown Manhattan, where the NFL is
I don't think it has
headquartered.
anything to do with the
We also
NFL.
have our first look inside the
I think
vehicle that he was
that's like the
operating
fall
with,
guy,
and we also
like the
have
NFL.
some information about the prescription
But
medications
look
that
all
were
the
found inside that
ammunition he
car.
had.
You're looking now at the first pictures that we have inside the car. That's a carry case for a large weapon like an AR-15 type of weapon. Obviously, it's empty because
Like,
police
why
say
would you
that was
be
the
carrying
weapon
all
that
this
Shane
ammunition?
Tamura used in carrying out that mass shooting on Monday. This
That
other
doesn't make
picture
any
shows
sense.
bags and
Bags and
bags of
bags
bullets and
of
additional
bullets.
ammunition that were in Ziploc bags and then in a
But he was
cardboard
gonna do
box
all
there.
that.
There's something on the upper part of that screen there that looks like it could either be a cartridge or yet another
I
a
don't know.
gun.
Something's not right with
The
this
key
story.
to this is understanding that had this gunman gotten back to his car, he would have had additional gun firepower to work with. Now, let's draw the attention to the next photograph. In this one, we're going to be zooming in on that middle console on the upper left. You can see there's a prescription bottle as we get closer and closer to it. And you might also notice that usually you have that orange bottle and it has a white cap on it that's tamper-proof, and that is missing. So it's an uncapped bottle of prescription medication. Law enforcement sources are telling Fox 5 in New York that at least 2 of the medications were retrieved from the car, and both are used to treat mental health conditions, including a Zoloft generic, which is used to treat depression and panic disorder, amongst other illnesses, and Deval Prox, which can be used to treat conditions that include bipolar disorder and epilepsy. Obviously, countless Americans struggle with mental health conditions who do not end up arming up and carrying out mass shootings. Nonetheless, if we go to the next series of pictures, authorities say Tamura had these 2 weapons on him on Monday evening.
Such a huge weapon, and look, this is a smaller
primary
weapon.
It's also referred to as an M4 in the military. And also that handgun that you're going to see, which they say is what he used to kill himself, shooting himself in the chest. As for the investigation, it's now focusing on the state of Nevada. Tamura's friend there is said to be cooperating as he details selling that AR-15 style assault rifle to the alleged gunman who ended up using it to shoot 5 innocent people here on Monday, killing 4 of them. Tamura played high school football and had left handwritten notes on him saying that he suffers from CTE.
He never even played college football, I don't think.
That's a type of brain disorder brought to
He
prominence.
played high school football. How is that part of the NFL? It does not make any sense.
A decade ago that started coming out. Now, his note accuses the NFL of concealing the dangers of CTE for the purposes of its own profit. Also, in the note, he wrote, quote, "Study my brain. I'm sorry." And finally, Andy, the medical examiner's office right now is looking to see if, in fact, the gunman was suffering from CTE. They're also conducting a toxicology exam to see what sort of drugs or medications were in his system.
That he doesn't have CTE.
Serves, sometimes it can take up to 2 or 3 months
then
for
that's
that
just
toxicology report to come back.
Out the
and
window.
Meanwhile, we reached out to the NFL and we just
I think the
heard back,
CTE
Andy,
it's a
we
front.
asked specifically if there's any prior contact or threats made by the gunman. They referred us to the police department. They did not say yes. They did not say no.
Doesn't make no sense.
They moved the question over to the police department. But one of the questions too is if they received a prior threat. How was it handled? Was it referred over to the NYPD? So referring it to the NYPD right now is interesting, but we're going to chase down that lead and we're going to talk to the NYPD about it.
All right, very good. And it's very interesting to look inside that vehicle of the gunman after this deadly shooting earlier on this week. And you mentioned during that just some of the ammunition, the firepower that was remaining just in that passenger seat with all of those shells. And you mentioned the medicine. Do we have any understanding if it was his intention to come back to the vehicle at any point?
No, it does not seem like it. The note that was on him by virtue of it saying, "I'm sorry," it seemed like he was going in to carry out the shooting. We do not have any evidence so far that he was looking to return to the vehicle.
Add up to me, man.
To rearm himself or replenish his ammunition. Also worth pointing out, in those pictures inside his vehicle, we can see that he had book bags, he had other bags. If he wanted to bring additional ammo, he could have probably put it in one of those book bags. It would have fit, right? And as we show a picture of that, you'll see the book bags as well here in the front foot compartment, also in the passenger seat. So not knowing specifically what his plan was, because it was so sick and twisted and violent, it seemed like he was able to do enough damage with what he had.
Yeah, disturbing nonetheless. All right, Arthur, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I know you guys are going to continue to dig into this developing story. I appreciate your time here on Live Now.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me that I mean, there's more to that story. I mean, it's big time incomplete, but the fact that they want to run the narrative with the NFL as the backdrop, something doesn't smell right. Listen, when something smells like shit, it's shit. Okay, no matter what, like it's shit. Let's go to the next story here. I wanted to check out Jason A. Story that I didn't get to watch yesterday, but because of the earthquake, we're gonna watch it now. Let me just set it up.
A guy by the name of Yuval Noah Harari. You may have heard of him. He's written 13 bestsellers, sold millions and millions of books. He's invited to speak at all sorts of conferences around the world. He is the top advisor to the World Economic Forum on forecasting the future, and he's a big man with transhumanism and all the rest of that, as the digital take over the world and robots and blah blah blah. He's also himself a very open gay man, and he said it's interesting in a recent interview, there is no creator with specific intentions for humanity and their behavior. And that's where he really comes. People are free to live as they wish. Nothing in nature has a purpose, and nothing that exists is unnatural. And then he said, therefore, we should celebrate the LGBT community because there's nothing unnatural. In fact, his advice was, he said, we should hack our biology to help us advance. In other words, homosexuality, transsexuality, these are all advancements in our evolutionary process, and what we need to do is actively hack ourselves. So it's not suddenly top and bottom surgery to make myself look like a woman, but it's basically a hack. But once you begin to vary from God's truth, you cannot help but begin to amass a huge amount of contradictions in your own mind. And that's why we find we're living in a culture that's so confused about the simple and the most obvious things, who are so easily taken in by sophistry, that they don't understand that it doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense.
To keep people confused.
And the reason the Bible is so powerful and so effective in our life is because it makes sense. It explains why the
Bible
world
doesn't really make sense.
It explains why the world is moving in the direction.
I don't know. I don't agree with him on that.
But you see, as Paul said to the Romans in Romans 1:22, that they profess themselves to be wise, but they have become fools in the process. But if we begin with the creation, which God creates everything out of nothing, he didn't have to have a primordial ooze to bake or cook or stir in order to get you to come out on the other end. He started with nothing and he just spoke it into existence, which really makes as much sense and maybe more sense than the idea of it simply being baked in a kiddie's oven to produce some kind of primordial thing that looks like you.
Why is it kicking on?
But the whole point is that the world was composed, he tells us even in this opening statement, of the three things that we very colloquially refer to as the essence of life in this world. We talk about how we have time, we have space, and we have matter. God says in the beginning, that's time. He even tells us that he created the dynamic of time. Then he goes on to tell us that he created matter, the earth, and he created space, the heavens.
I don't know.
So that in a very real way, when somebody says, well, I don't believe in that primitive cosmology, what they don't recognize is that there's nothing primitive at all in the way it specs itself. It may not use our learned vocabulary, but the simple fact is it's describing a real place in real time. Additionally, both the book of Genesis and Revelation repeatedly refer to God as the one and the only one, the original cause of everything,
to be manipulated.
the creator of what the Greeks
can't really
referred to as
tell
the
what's real and what's not.
cosmos. The cosmos. It's where they get it from the word cosmio, whereas we get our word cosmetic and cosmology. And it literally means to arrange, to adorn, to make orderly. An orderly arrangement or a decoration. In other words, he created a universe that had order and beauty mixed together. And lastly, Paul goes on to remind us in Colossians 1:16 and 17, he says, all things were created through him and for him, and he is before or above all things, and in him all things consist. That basically covers everything. Now, from the most ancient times, men have understood and accepted this is an obvious reality. All they needed to do was look around them and see that the universe or the cosmos is not random and nor is it chaotic, but it's an orderly, sensible, predictable place. It's marked by recognizable things like beauty and governed by natural and consistent laws. Now, it's not coincidental that 1799 or 98 is considered to be the beginning of the modern mind. And the modern mind, or what they call the Enlightenment, was this era in which suddenly they said, we've been governed by life's definition from a biblical point of view, but we're going to now interpret it based solely upon science, of which we know very little. But we're going to base it on that, and if it can't be defined by its material essence, in other words, if you can't touch it, if you can't taste it, you can't feel it, you can't see it, you can't digest it, well then we don't know that it's real, because we just don't believe that there's anything outside of what our sensory perceptions can experience. And that began the idea of what we call materialism, a materialistic view of the world. They also called it enlightenment and also rationalism. All these different terms that they gave to the idea to really kind of convince you, because if you want to sell something, you have to come, really with a terminology. You have to be a jargon that you use so that other people have to learn your jargon to be able to talk to you. That's called medical school. But the whole, so you have appendages, you don't have toes. And I think that can be really misleading. Because I remember when I went to the doctor and said, well, we're going to need to do a digital exam on your prostate. And I thought, I'm into computers. I have no problem. They didn't tell me that this was a digit. I said, that's not a digit, that's your finger. So deceptive. But basically, Mark was arguing that everything that happens gradually. There's a natural, gradual, biological mechanism. And he even went so far to say that apes were mankind's ancient ancestors. Now, what's really interesting to that, if you go to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., they'll have a display of the evolution of man. And in that, they'll tell you how the chimpanzees and humans have share 98 to 99% of the same DNA. The problem is that since 2007, they know that's hugely inaccurate. Today, especially when talking about the sexual aspects of a chimpanzee versus American, the difference is 20%. The only place where it's still 1% is in politics. But beyond that...
Yeah, I could agree with him on that. I could definitely agree on him, on the politics. But last time I checked, my cousins are not fucking monkeys. And if they were, I saw them and I said, what's up to them? The last time I was at the zoo, when was the last time I was at the zoo? I think when I went to the Bronx Zoo a year ago. I think it was a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago, I went to the Bronx Zoo and I saw some monkeys. And maybe they were my cousins, because they're in the Bronx. So I have family in the Bronx. They could have been the fucking monkeys. But I feel bad for them because they didn't get the fair chance to be able to walk, talk, and make stupid decisions. Yeah, they weren't given that decision. They kept them as primates and little, monkeys. Oh, monkeys. I don't know. I'm not mucking around with that one. Mm-mm. Let's see. Just gonna go through the stories that I was gonna go through yesterday, but I didn't get to because of the tsunami. So I'm gonna go over some news that are about a day old. So um, yeah, that's what it is.
I'm Atrell Nashar in Washington. President Trump says he's no longer interested in talking with Russian President Vladimir Putin about ending the war in Ukraine. Instead, President Trump's threatening to use a new tactic to limit Russia's energy revenue used to fund its war, and Russia is responding. President Trump losing his patience with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
What are the chances if we get nuked by Russia?
His deadline for Putin to agree to a peace deal to end the war in Ukraine.
They do want to build the Golden Dome for a reason.
Russian oil and gas with steep penalties.
Maybe
this was President Trump July 14th.
We're going to be doing
Russia throws
we don't have a deal.
a couple of missiles this way,
and they'll be at 100%.
Tuesday, aboard Air Force One, confirming the deadline's been moved up.
10 days
to land in New York.
And I don't know if it's going to affect Russia.
I know we don't have.
Obviously, probably.
I mean,
keep the war going.
When President
what
Trump
missile defense system do we have that's going to protect the East Coast?
President of Russia, now deputy chair of Russia's Security Council, called it theatrical. When the deadline was shortened, Medvedev said, Trump's playing the ultimatum game with Russia, 50 days or 10. He should remember two things. One, Russia isn't Israel or even Iran. Two, each new ultimatum is a threat and a step towards war. Not between Russia and Ukraine, but with his own country. Don't go down the Sleepy Joe road. In their latest act of aggression, Russia striking cities and villages across Ukraine through Monday night into Tuesday morning. Missiles striking a hospital west of Dnipro. Bombs hitting a correctional facility in the Zaporizhia region. Ukrainian authorities report more than 24 killed and more than 100 injured.
President, I hope, is seeing through Vladimir Putin's con
I
game.
can't
He's been
stand this
playing
dude.
America, mocking us.
Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal co-sponsoring
He's from my
a sanctions
state,
bill
Connecticut.
with Republican Senator Lindsey Graham to allow the president to tariff countries up to 500% if they buy Russian energy. Graham says, I hope countries like China, India, and Brazil, who prop up Putin's
but
war
who gets
machine,
that money?
are about to pay
You know
a
what I mean?
overdue price. The president plans to use executive authority for these secondary tariffs, not rely on legislation.
They
And this
really
won't
want
come
World War
without
III, no matter
risk.
what.
China,
We're
India,
headed
and
for
Brazil
a big
are all nations with which
confrontation. Like,
Trump
something big's
is
going to
trying
happen.
negotiate
All these
trade
kids
deals.
acting
In
crazy and
Washington,
have
I'm
all this
Atrell Nashar.
aggression inside of them. They're going to end up going to war. They're going to end up being drafted. I'm telling you, I see it. I'm a fucking psychic, man. I feel energy. I know energy. I never second guess myself. Like I know, like I just feel things. That's just how it works. I work through energy and vibrations, and I'm very sensitive. And I when I hear stories and I hear certain things, and it's just I call it for like how I see it and how I hear it. Especially that New York shooting, like something there is really not right. I'm just saying. I think that letter and who starts off a letter? If you have that aggression, you have that like inside that you want to take out the whole NFL. You would know the floor that they're in for one. If he drove from Nevada all the way to New York, okay, and he went in there with all that aggression and all that, why would you start off a letter, a manifesto, saying, I'm sorry? Help me make it make sense. Help me make it make sense. Because to me, it really fucking doesn't. And I feel like everyone is so like, you could tell the weak minds, right? Because they follow the narrative and then they run with that narrative. Oh, the NFL, oh, the NFL, everything's the NFL, the NFL, to get attention on them. In reality, he was in there for another reason, and it had to do with that Black Rock, Blackstone, Black whoever you want to call them. They're really no good. That office is not really good. They were on the 33rd floor. Um, a lot of symbolism, numbers. The letter. I would like to see the letter, how it was written, because it would show the anger, or the like how you write. You could write your feelings on a paper, right? But it's not by what they say, it's how they write it, how they cross their t's and dot their i's. It plays a big factor. Okay, I like to break things down, and just not jump into conclusions like the media is. Oh, the NFL, the NFL, oh, everybody, the NFL. You don't talk about the NFL and then you go up to the 33rd floor and you kill the CEO of that Black Rock, Black Stone, Black whatever you want to call it. You know what? Let me get the name, because um, I think it's Black Rock. It's still affiliated, I believe, with Black Rock. But I'm just saying, um, let's see. I'm trying to find that story that would tell me. No, I just think we don't deserve to be alive in this world, and our time's gonna be coming that we all get to go together to the next life. We're attracting. You guys don't understand what we project, we attract. So all this craziness, all this like negativity, and all this energy that we're pulling in objects to come to our direction. I'm trying to find the damn story. There's a lot of stories. It's just is what it is. Let's see. I'm just like I said. I'm looking for it because now they buried the story, so you gotta like go search for it. Um, Maybe you guys, everyone knows, you can put it in the chat. But they buried the story because I'm searching for it now, and it's like I gotta like scroll, which it should have been more news about it, and it should be more towards the top. But no, they buried it, and I'm trying to search for it. Here you go. Dr. Chu says, "Don't bother scanning his brain. He's as dead as Dahmer." It's not about the okay, if he has CTE, he has CTE, but he never played for the fucking NFL. So what does that ties in with the NFL? It does not make any sense. It doesn't make sense. As many times you're gonna try to, it just does not make sense. I don't even know if they say anything about that. The place where he shot. Let me see if they say anything about it. You see, they're really burying that name, because I'm looking here in TMZ, and I do not see the name of the place. Yeah, I don't see the name on here of the place. They only say, okay, it says here, where's it? Here it is. TMZ caught up with Drew over Zoom Tuesday after Shane Tamura went on his Monday night rampage inside, I guess that's the name of the guy, um, inside the Midtown Manhattan Tower before finally shooting himself in the chest on the 33rd floor after failing to reach the targeted NFL offices. That's I don't think that's true. I I listen. It's just me. I feel like I feel from how I read things and how like my mind works. Um, something there's not right. Why would he go to the 33rd floor if the NFL office floor is on the fifth floor? They're not even up that high. This guy drove all the way from Nevada, right? You know he did his homework because he knew where the facilities was. If you did your homework, he would have known it was on the fifth floor, right? If you're going there on a mission and it's a kill mission, wouldn't you know I'm going to the fifth floor? And why straight to the 33rd floor? You know, something smells like shit. And when it smells like shit, it's shit. Um, I just feel there's more to the story, and the fact they're not giving me the name of the place that where he shot up, is very concerning because they should have said, "Oh, black, whatever." The name of the facility, the name of the place he went into and shot up. It doesn't say here, and the fact that he went in and shot the CEO of the facility. Are you kidding me? You could it's a double switch there. It's like I'm gonna put this letter in my pocket thinking they're gonna throw off the scent of him going purposely to that 33rd floor and killing the CEO, and then coming up with a claim of CTE, and trying to blame the NFL. The dude never played for the NFL. He never played for the NFL. So how does this play with the NFL? How does this tie in with the NFL? Help me make it make sense. Help me make it make sense because I am fucking confused. This story is just I just feel like they're throwing shit on the wall and it's not sticking in my brain. It's not. The NFL, I think that's just a throwaway. That's to throw off the scent and distraction. I think the NFL, the letter, I think that's the distraction. But he really, his attentions were there's video. There's video because okay, when you go into that building, I'm very 100% sure when you're walking in there, he will see the name of what that facility is. Wouldn't he see the name of the facility? Wouldn't they see like, oh, this is not the NFL. I got the wrong floor. When he got back down in the elevator and gone to the right floor, wouldn't he already known it's on the fifth floor? That's why it doesn't make any sense to me. You can't. You can't. And he killed individuals up there on the 33rd floor. Help me make it make sense. I'm gonna have my own little jingle. I have to have my own little jingle when it comes to help me make it make sense. Um, Now I gotta keep looking because they're not. There's no No name of the place. They go straight to Dahmer. Why does this have to do with Jeffrey Dahmer? Drew says, don't bother scanning his brain. It's as dead as Dahmer's. What this has to do with Jeffrey Dahmer? What this has to do with Jeffrey Dahmer? Dr. Drew is weighing in on the New York gunman who massacred 4 people with an AR style rifle inside of a Park Avenue skyscraper. And the famous doc is comparing the killer to the infamous Jeffrey Dahmer. How could you something's not right. Something's I hate playing these stupid games, get stupid rewards. This is coming from TMZ. I'm reading it from TMZ. TMZ caught up with Drew over Zoom on Tuesday. I already said that. Police sources say Tamara left a 3-page suicide note saying he had a grievance with the NFL and claiming he suffered from CTE, chronic traumatic epilepsy, which is it's a brain injury. As a result, he said he wanted his brain to be studied. But Dr. Drew tells us other doctors shouldn't waste their precious time scanning Turner's brain for one reason. In the video clip, he says the scan won't reveal anything about Turner's motive for killing all those people. Drew also says doctors didn't need to save the brain because you need living brain to to come to conclusions and divine conclusions. You need living brains. Um, at best, Drew says a scan will only confirm Turner suffered from a neurological issue associated with he had psychiatric illness, which could also include CTE. Then Dr. Drew compared Turner's brain to Dahmer's, pointing out the same would hold true for the Milwaukee serial killer, who, he snuffed out the lives of 17 men and boys from 1978 to 1991, and in 1994, Dahmer was he was put to death by a fellow inmate while serving life sentence in prison. So, how can you compare a serial killer, a rapist? I know YouTube don't like that word, but it's the truth. How can you compare the serial killer, Milwaukee serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, compare it to what this guy walked into our office and he killed the police officer, went up to the 33rd floor and killed how many other 3 other people? I mean, how many people is the total? Because the officer is 1. That story doesn't even tell you that. It doesn't even tell you that. I mean, let me keep looking for the story, because they should have an updated story, and there's nothing. I had to dig. I'm digging in YouTube. I'm scrolling. Here it is. Here's one. Gunman worked as a unarmed security guard. Okay, so he killed 4 people. So, okay, we're playing the numbers, right? So he killed 4, but he killed 1 on the ground level. Then he went to the 33rd level and killed 3. 333. But I'm trying to figure out the name of the. I don't want to ask the G word because people are getting sucked into the G word and using the G word instead of you going and looking for it. The G word is the easy way. Yeah, this doesn't even say it either. You see, and it all the stories are, it's like all they're like covering. Why are they covering for this company and the CEO of this company that this guy killed? Like, I don't know, because here it's saying Tara killed 3 people in the lobby, including an off-duty NYPD officer. So that's 3. And then before making his way up to the 33rd floor and killing a 4th person, and then took his own life by shooting himself in the chest. Okay, that one person on the 33rd floor was the CEO of that establishment. Um he would have known that was not the NFL's offices. As soon as he walked out the elevator, he would have known that is not the NFL. And the fact, and also, this is another thing. He let one walk by him, a person. He let a female that I think was coming out of the elevator walk without hurting that individual. But you're not hearing that in the media. You're not hearing so much about that. He let someone walk by him before going up to the 33rd floor to kill the CEO of a company that I can't fucking find the name to, which has ties with BlackRock. Okay, so here's another report here. An NFL employee suffered a gunshot wound in his back during a deadly shooting in New York City on Monday, according to a new report. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell previously revealed that one employee was seriously injured in the mass shooting that took place at 345 Park Avenue, the home of the league's headquarters. These individuals that got shot, they were probably in the first floor. So was he really targeting NFL people? He would have went to the 5th floor. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, I'm still trying to. This is not going to make sense. The gunman, 27-year-old, I'm not going to say Shane Termerl, claimed he suffered from CTE due to past football injuries. And New York City Eric Adams told CBS Morning he was targeting the NFL as he blamed it for his alleged brain disease. Terminal went to the wrong floor in the building, and he was unable to locate the NFL headquarters, which doesn't make sense. Now, you see, TMZ, you gotta take them with a grain of salt. They're really young, dumb, full of individuals there. I'm not buying that. If you drove from Nevada and you had everything planned, you had the weapons planned, you had you knew where to go, you would know that it was on the fifth floor. Why would you go there and not know the floor? Like, are you kidding me? That does not make any sense. That's why you see, if I was a detective right away, I would have sniffed that out. I'd be like, that doesn't make sense. And I would like to see the letter and see how it was written and see the stress on the writing. Are we ever going to see that letter? That's a good question. Are we ever going to see that letter? And how can we verify that that letter is actually his and not somebody else's writing? I mean, I don't know. Something's not adding up, you know. But it's Blackstone. That's the name of the company. Blackstone. Um that's crazy. Well, there is a suicide note, I guess, right? And it's 3 pages. So let's see how long it's gonna take for those pages to come out. I'm just saying there's no way that you're gonna go plan to do something that's is gonna be national news. And if you're going after the NFL, I don't know. You never played for the NFL. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like it's like me breaking my neck, and I got traumatic brain injury myself from my accident, and then that's me going to the office and going to the wrong floor and shooting people up and blaming and putting a note in my pocket blaming the NFL for my CTE, and I shot myself in my heart like to study my brain. But I never played a day of my life in the NFL. So how would that make sense? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I think that's a false story. That's false. There's more to it. It's not about the NFL. I think it definitely has to do with the Blackstone, um, which is I believe part of like BlackRock. They have ties. So I I'm just saying something don't smell right. It's not right, and there's more to it. Um, and the amount of ammunition he had in that vehicle, knowing that he was gonna put himself out and put himself down. Why? Like you go into the building, you shoot up the inside, you kill an officer, you injured an employee that so happened to be in the first floor, and he got shot. I don't get it. And who was the other person that got killed? Because they're not releasing information on the other ones that got let me see. Yeah, you see this one, the NFL one, the guy that got shot, um he's saying that it could have been that the bullet made of ricocheted before striking him. So maybe like when he was spraying the area, maybe it ricocheted from the ground and came up and hit him like the magic bullet. So I don't know how true is this. We need to see if there has to be video. There's video of this like occurring. So until I see the video and see the writings, everything that I'm reading from TMZ is very speculative. It's not like we got to see the evidence before we make any conclusions. But I tell you right now, I don't think he was going after the NFL. As much they want to blame it like he was going after the NFL, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that's just there's a lot of deception. There's a lot of things that people could. There's a lot to the story. It's not good. I just can't follow that narrative of what they're trying to push on the people, and the people are just like a lot of them don't care. A lot of them that they'll listen to it, but you know, I don't know. Something really weird is happening. You have the CEO of Blackstone got executed, killed. They're not specifying how and where that person got shot, how many shots that person got. There's no information that's flowing. Everything's very secretive. How many shots did it take to take out the CEO? And last time I checked, like I think that person was a female. So why would he let a female that passed by him on the elevator go free, but yet he goes to the 33rd floor and sees a female and shoots her? Does that make sense? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, doesn't make sense to me. But it is what it is. It's just it's a crazy time, crazy world, and that's what we're living in. We're living in a wild times. It's just crazy. Let's see what else I have here. I got a couple of stories to go through, so let's just rapid fire through it. And yeah, I just have my opinions on that New York thing because it's to me there's more to meet the eye on that, and I don't think we're getting the full. I think there's something wrong with that. I don't the energy. I feel the energy and something's not right. Let's go ahead to the next story and see what's up here.
Residents in a Beverly Grove neighborhood say they are being targeted by tire thieves. Video posted to social media shows a white van quickly removing tires before fleeing the scene. Gene Kang spoke with one of those victims. He's live in Beverly Grove with the details.
Hi, Glenn. Hi, Lou, to both of you. Well, I've been talking to Jason. He's one of those victims, and he tells me he started a neighborhood watch after a lot of suspicious activity. You can see his new pickup truck right behind me here in Beverly Grove. Apparently, those thieves just snatched his tires and then took off. He spoke to us about what happened, but he's remaining anonymous.
So I approached my vehicle on Sunday morning just to start my beautiful Sunday morning and found these lug nuts on the floor. And determined right away that the two driver's side tires were stolen. I called the police, filed a police report, and then out of curiosity, I posted it on the neighbors app. And to find out there were a dozen other victims within a mile radius of this Beverly Grove and Fairfax area. And other victims started sharing their vehicles, and we found a similarity with all the photos. And the similarity was that the cinder blocks here are the same cinder blocks that were used for all, and that only the driver's side tires were removed
That's
from all the
crazy.
vehicles. So we
At least they left the
some
lug
video
nuts.
footage that were circulating around. It was a white Chevy 3500 van
Look at
that we
that.
found in one victim's surveillance video, and from there we've just been sharing the word. And detectives on the
Damn.
case, but unfortunately no leads at this time. There are two individuals leaving the van, and what they do is they park right next to the vehicle to block the view from others.
Look at this.
And it takes about 5 to 8 minutes for them to take both wheels, as we saw in that video, and then they're on their way.
Wow. You know what they're gonna have to do?
Truck was left on Edinburgh
They had to
Avenue
put
near
tracking
First
device
Street here in Beverly Grove.
inside the tire.
Starting July 10th, at least a dozen Fairfax and Beverly Grove neighbors have reported they were also targets. LAPD detectives told Jason the crimes seemed to be happening pretty much in the early morning hours. That's between 3 to 6 a.m. when most people are asleep. But thanks to the Neighbors app as well as Ring Video, the community is coming together. They're getting the word out as police are searching for that white Chevy 3500 van and any potential suspects. Now, back out here live, this is one of those stories where neighbors are helping neighbors doing their own detective work while police are on this case.
Crazy.
We also just received new surveillance video of that white van that we showed you in that video earlier. However, this is different. We're going to show you that in the next hour. And also, if you know more about this suspicious activity or have seen that van, call police right away. Reporting live here in Beverly Grove, Gene Kang, KTLA 5 News.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's go to more crazy news. Why not, right?
On camera in Atlanta, newly released dash body camera
What
footage capturing the
is
dramatic
going
moment police caught
on?
up with the suspect who led
A
them on
semi?
a high-speed chase in a stolen semi-truck. The video also captures that driver weaving erratically across a median and right into oncoming traffic before finally the chase ended with a crash right through a homeowner's fence. Officers moved in. They had their pistols drawn. Also, a couple of K-9 officers were there, and they were able to take that man into custody.
Oh my God. That is so wild. Are you kidding me? You know what? I wanted to see that story about the Jimmy Hoffa. I think it's this one.
All right. It is one of the most perplexing mysteries in American history, the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa. The legendary labor leader vanished 50 years ago today, but the search for answers still continues. Senior correspondent Eric Shawn is in Bloomfield Township, Michigan, where Hoffa was last seen. Eric, take us back to that fateful day.
Yeah, hi, Sandra. It was basically 50 years ago, right this moment, just after 2:30 in the afternoon on a hot summer day just like this, when Jimmy Hoffa got into a car right here and drove away and was never seen again. For our exclusive Fox Nation series Riddle, The Search for James R. Hoffa, I sat down with James P. Hoffa, Jimmy Hoffa's son, and he told me who he said was behind his father's murder.
Jimmy Hoffa is missing right now.
It was 1:30 p.m. Jimmy Hoffa kissed his wife Josephine goodbye at the kitchen door of their lake house and headed out his driveway. Hoffa was challenging incumbent Teamster president Frank Fitzsimmons, but Fitzsimmons and the mob had other ideas. Through the years, Hoffa's son, James P. Hoffa, has rarely talked about his father's disappearance, but is now, for our Fox Nation series, Riddle, The Search for James R. Hoffa.
Why have you decided to speak out now, and why to me?
Well, it's been 50 years, and Fox has followed this all the way, and it's an incredible story.
Hoffa, a former Teamsters president himself, says then Teamsters boss Frank Fitzsimmons teamed up with the Detroit Mafia, specifically the Giacalone brothers, to kill his father. Vito Giacalone, known as Billy Jack, is seen here on the left. His older brother, Anthony, or Tony Jack, is on the right.
I think Fitzsimmons was afraid of Hoffa coming back, and he says, I want this job. I want to keep this job. And the mob didn't want him back. And I think they got together to say, how do we make sure that he doesn't come back? Because they were afraid, because they knew if he did come back, he would win the election and he would take back the union. And they knew that. And the only way to stop him was to kill him.
Anthony Giacalone, Tony Jack, had an alibi that day, but his brother, Vito Giacalone, known as Billy Jack, did not.
Who do you think picked your father up?
I would say Billy Giacalone. These guys are gangsters. I mean, they looked like gangsters and they acted like gangsters. They just think they were just conning my dad into getting his, that I can help you, but we'll have a meeting basically setting him up to murder him. They actually got together to kill him because they couldn't stop him any other way.
Some investigators think this is where Hoffa was killed, a house owned by Detroit mobster Carlo Licata. Hoffa's body may have been taken to a mob-owned waste plant, Central Sanitation Services, and disposed of in a shredder or incinerator.
It's a hole in our heart because no matter what goes on as the years go on, there's still that hole about not having a proper funeral, a proper grave site, basically to say goodbye. And we do not have closure even after 50 years. And it hurts our family.
How much? Well, the Hoffa family is asking President Trump to fully release the Hoffa FBI files. They say that will show them and reveal the actual final answers in this case. We interviewed the FBI office here in Detroit, and they still have an open case. They're asking anyone who still has any information to call in. They have a credible investigation, and the FBI, after all these years, still does pursue credible information. Sandra, back to you in the studio.
I believe that has ties to the CIA. I think that has ties within the CIA. Like it's just screaming to me CIA real loud in my head. That has something to do with that. TMZ is a piece of work, piece of garbage. I saw here an article about the NYC skyscraper shooting. Slain NYPD cop was an immigrant. I love how they phrase it. Like he was an immigrant, right? He moved. The New York department slain, the officer from that New York City skyscraper attack on Monday night was a married immigrant father of 2 young boys with a 3rd child on the way. Okay. He moved to America from Bangladesh, and he served the NYPD for 3 years. So he came through the right way then. He went through the process. And he became a police officer the right way. Was he illegal? He wasn't illegal. He was legal. So I don't know what TMZ was trying to do with that, trying to make that highlight. He was an immigrant. There's a lot of immigrants here that are legal, that are U.S. citizens that live here in our country. Like, the problem is the illegal ones that are here causing the chaos. It's just, is what it is. So let's go to the next story here. Let's see. Oh, this one's a doozy. We're going from crazy and more crazy, right? It's hump day, baby. It's gonna be crazy. And we'll get to crazier too. It's just is what it is, Let's go ahead and bring it up here and let's watch together.
Yeah, craziness, dealing death to our president, all that stuff. Thankfully, these brave guys tackled him. This passenger was threatening to blow up the plane, threatening the country, the president, as I said. Then other passengers, they tackled him. They held this guy down. It happened on Sunday on a flight from London to Glasgow during the president's visit to Scotland. So that's not good. The plane landed safely. The passenger was taken into custody, and officials say there were no explosives on board. But obviously, very scary for all of these passengers, and good for those guys for jumping in and taking some action and responsibility.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube.
You can't that's wild. You know, that's pretty wild. Let's go to the next story.
Eyewitness News with live. This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
Breaking news as we come on the air here at 3. 2 people taken to the hospital after a shooting at a daycare center in Granada Hills. One person now in custody as parents scramble to reunite with their children. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Cutter-Robles.
I'm Giovanna Lara in for Colleen Sullivan. Let's get right to Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth, who's been at the scene gathering information. He's live in Granada Hills. Leo, what can you tell us?
No, my friend, we just drove up about 5-10 minutes ago, and obviously a very frightening ordeal for parents who have kids at the daycare center just around the corner here. You can't see it, but just up the street around the corner here.
You got shot up at a daycare center.
Residence is, authorities tell us, which is also a daycare. We're at Bradford Place and Firma Court here in Granada Hills, and this all unfolded around the noon hour. We talked to a police captain who filled us in on actually what went down here.
So today, officers responded to a radio call of a shooting in progress at the location here on Firma Court. Officers discovered 2 victims, 2 female adult victims, approximately in their 50s, that had received gunshot wounds. Their wounds at this time appear to be stable. They do not appear to be life-threatening. The location they responded to is also it's not only a residence, but it appears to be that they have a daycare center at the location. There were children on site during this incident. Fortunately, there's been no children hurt or injured during this incident that we are aware of at this time.
Happened initially? Did he just walk up on this and just started shooting, or what unfolded?
From what I understand, he arrived at the location, acquired a weapon, the shotgun, we believe, and started shooting. Again, it's still under investigation where exactly the shooting happened in the house. The children were in the daycare center, which is actually off to it's a separate entity of the residence. Basically, it's next to the residence.
Okay, so it's next to it. It wasn't at the daycare
Inside
center.
of the house, or was he outside of the house shooting at
You see, that's a false.
Initially, I believe he's inside. But
false title right there.
Trying to actually wrap up the reunification process between the kids.
It wasn't at the
and the
daycare
parents.
center. It was next to it.
Shortly after this incident, the suspect, we had information on the suspect's vehicle. The suspect was located. Suspect was taken into custody. I do not know the exact location. And so he is taken into custody this time. The weapon we believe involved in this incident, which is a shotgun, has been recovered. So that has been recovered. And we don't believe that there's a general threat to the public. We believe this is relationship based, whether it's domestic violence or family violence. We're not clear at this time. It's under investigation.
And again, 2 adults wounded, according to authorities. Not one of the kids inside of that facility harmed. The suspect in custody at this hour. And again, authorities making it clear, this does not appear to be a random act of violence. This was some sort of targeted shooting. Authorities are investigating what surrounded this, but they do not believe, again, that this was a random act of violence. So they don't want the folks here in this community to be alarmed or scared or feel like this was some target, more than a targeted hit.
Doesn't matter.
So they
It
have the suspect in
happened.
custody, and this
This guy's a
investigation
fucking
continues.
idiot. I can't listen
Live
to
in
him no
Granada Hill.
more. Shut up. Like you're a horrible reporter. I mean, out of all reporters, I think you suck. That guy sucks. Like for real. Like, first of all, your title is very misleading. So let's just keep it moving.
Has been making the rounds in our region, and officials are warning that it can be deadly. It's called Fly Sky, and our Krista Rose has more on what the public needs to be on the lookout
Oh no, another drug?
Here in Fayette County over the last few days, there have been at least 2 overdose deaths from a drug called Fly Sky, and now officials want people to be aware that this drug is in the community. The drug Fly Sky, as it's sometimes labeled on bags sold on the street, is heroin laced with medetomidine, which is a tranquilizer used in veterinary medicine. Fayette County District Attorney Michael Abel says that users need to be aware that this drug can be lethal.
My understanding is that medetomidine is a drug that is not affected by Narcan. So if you overdose on medetomidine, Narcan is not going to save you.
Abel says that anyone who may have a bag of this Fly Sky drug can turn it into authorities at several places in the county, including local police stations and the Crime Stoppers office. No questions asked. He also says that not
Yeah,
only
right.
are local and state police working to get these drugs off the street, but that his office will prosecute those who are responsible for delivering these drugs into the community.
We want people to be safe. We want everybody to be alive and to be healthy. You just don't know what you're getting anymore on the street.
Now, not only is this drug popping up in Fayette County and the Pittsburgh area, but it's also being seen in places like Philadelphia and Chicago. We're going to have more information about this drug with this story on our
Philadelphia,
website,
Chicago, Rochester,
KDKA.com.
New
But for now,
York.
reporting in Uniontown, Fayette County, Chris DeRose, KDKA TV News.
Crazy. Let's go to another crazy story.
Ago, former Vice President Kamala Harris will not run for California governor next year, leaving open the possibility that she could mount a third run for the White House in 2028.
Who the hell
she said in a
wants as
statement,
president?
over the last
We don't need a
6
dumbass
months,
as
I
president.
have spent time reflecting on this
I'm
moment
sorry,
in our
but
nation's
no, we
history
don't
and the
need an
best way for me
airhead.
to continue fighting for the American people and advance
We
the
need
values
someone
and
that's
ideals I hold dear.
really
I've
educated
given
and
serious
knows
thought
business.
to asking the people of California for the
This is
privilege
not a
to serve as their
fashion
governor.
show. This is
I
not
love this
popularity
state, its people, and its
contest.
promise. It's my home. But after deep reflection, I've decided that I will not
She
run
looks so
for
fake.
governor in this election. Patrick, your reaction to that? Do you hope that that means that she will run again
her.
for president of the United States?
Who acts like that?
I don't think she'll
You know what
run
I
for
mean?
president of the United States. Is my gut reading the statement, live here. I thought she was, really considering governor, but I think she wants to serve in different capacities. Is my understanding, but I don't speak for her. I'm not her spokesperson. But let's face it. I mean, she just went through a grueling, presidential race. Her second, cycle of the, she ran for president, obviously, 5 years ago, and then again this past cycle. So I don't think there'll be a third time, if you're asking me my opinion. But I will tell you that, I think she has an incredibly important voice, and I hope she continues to serve in the public interest in some capacity, whether it's in the private sector or elsewhere.
Tommy, your reaction to this news about Kamala Harris, the former VP?
I honestly don't think she could win, even in California. California is fed up with their failed leadership, and they aren't going to go from one failed leader, Gavin Newsom, to another in Kamala Harris. And I think that she even understands she couldn't win there. I don't think that she's going to run for president again, but I'll tell you this, she's also been largely absent, even in California, with everything that California has gone through, with the immigration riots, of course, the wildfires. That is her home state. And she did not take the opportunity to stand on that stage and speak to those issues in any meaningful way. She just had an opportunity to talk to the future voters of America at a summit, and she sent in a virtual message. This woman is not serious about running for anything, and maybe that's a good thing for her party and for the country.
Quick question to you, Patrick, before I bring in Steve Hilton. I mean, right now there's so much focus, and this, of course, would probably change a bit in the coming years. But right now there's so much focus on what did you know and how much did you understand about the declining abilities of President Biden. And I have to believe if you're looking at a scenario where you're on a debate stage answering questions or you're in interviews, she would be pressed on this mightily.
No doubt. And I can I just say real quick, I disagree with Tommy. I think if she would have ran for governor, she would have won, but that's not the question. The question you're asking is, I do think, Martha, that she'd be asked those questions, those tough questions. And I think that's why a lot of Democrats, a lot of Americans are ready to turn the page. I think they're looking for new generation of leaders, both in the Democratic and Republican Party. And I think you're going to see those leaders emanate from the states, in states like Pennsylvania and Maryland and elsewhere.
Just before I let you go, does Mandami represent that new generation to you, Patrick?
I think it comes from the states, not necessarily the cities. How about that?
All right, guys. Tommy Lahren, Patrick Murphy, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page.
I hope she doesn't. I hope she doesn't run. We don't need that crazy. We don't need crazy in the White House. Now we're gonna wrap up the show. This is gonna be the last video of the show. We're gonna go straight to my friend. Good. He has 97.8 subscribers. So he has 97,000, like almost 98,000 subscribers. That's pretty cool. That's cool. I want him to get more subscribers. I want him to succeed. Like, I want him to really succeed. Let's go ahead and bring Tyson De La Cruz, and let's watch this together.
President Trump's immigration crackdown continues with ICE agents in Houston, Texas.
America, we got some absolutely staggering numbers out of Houston that are going to blow your mind. ICE has arrested 214 illegal alien child sex offenders in the Houston area alone in the past 6 months. But here's the kicker. That's more arrests than they made the entire fiscal year of 2024. We're talking about a 64% increase in arrests of the worst criminals preying on American children.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers have arrested more than 200 illegal immigrants who are child sex offenders just in the Houston area since President Donald Trump took office.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This is exactly what we voted for. No more catch and release, no more sanctuary policies, protecting criminals, and no more treating child safety like political football. Let me break down these numbers for you because they tell a story that mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. In just 6 months under Trump, ICE's Houston office arrested 214 illegal aliens who were either charged or convicted of crimes against children.
214 people detained by ICE in Houston over the last 6 months have either been charged with or convicted of child sex crimes, as the arrest number over the past 6 months surpassed the amount of child sex offenders nabbed by the office in all of 2024.
Think about that for a second. In all of the fiscal year of 2024 under Biden, they arrested 211 child sex offenders. Trump has been in office for 6 months and they have already arrested 214. That's not an improvement. That's a complete transformation of how we protect American children. The Houston field office covers 57 counties in Southeast Texas. We're talking about a massive area stretching from Beaumont all the way down to Corpus Christi. This isn't just Houston proper. This is protecting millions of Texan families from predators that have been living in their communities.
The office crediting the federal government's increase of resources. The acting field office director says while we still have a long way to go to truly get this crisis under control, the strides we have made in just 6 months to make our local communities safer are substantial.
And here's where this story gets really disturbing. Many of these child sex offenders have been deported multiple times and kept coming back. We're talking about known predators who were removed from the country 2, 3, 4 times, and they just kept returning to prey on American children. Let me give you some specific examples that might piss you off. Jesus Gutierrez Morales, 67 years old, had been deported 3 times and was convicted of aggravated sexual assault of a Jose Guadalupe Mezo, 40 years old, was a 4-time deportee convicted of sexual assault of a child. Sergio Galvin Guerrera, 45 years old, was deported 3 times and convicted of aggravated sexual assault of a child. These weren't just immigrant violations. These were convicted child predators who kept exploiting our broken border system to return to victimize more children. Under Biden's catch and release policies, how many of these monsters were just processed and then released back into American communities? The Trump administration isn't just arresting these predators, they're deporting them and deporting them fast. George Zebra was arrested on March 21st and deported on March 24th. That's 3 days. Jose Guadalupe Meza was arrested on June 24th and then deported the very next day. Sergio Galva Guerrera was arrested on July 12th and deported on July 14th. What makes this operation so effective is the whole government approach that Trump has implemented. This isn't just ICE working alone. They're coordinating with the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, U.S. Marshal Services, and the Diplomatic Secret Service.
ICE thanked other federal agencies for support arresting illegal immigrants since Trump took office.
They're running daily enhanced operations targeted at what they call the worst of the worst criminal aliens. This is a coordinated federal law enforcement with the state and local assistance. Exactly the kind of comprehensive approach we need to protect our children. Acting Field Office Director put it perfectly. Our officers continue to work tirelessly every single day to get the worst of the worst criminal aliens out of Southeast Texas. This, my friends, is exactly what law enforcement looks like when politicians care more about protecting American families instead of virtue signaling about compassion. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. According to analysts from the Deportation Data Project, ICE has arrested more than 100,000 migrants since Trump's inauguration day late June. And here's the key difference. 40% of those arrests are convicted.
Hey, Albie, what's up, Albie?
We achieved more in 6 months than
I got to send him a message. Gonna watch SummerSlam this weekend. It's a Saturday and Sunday event.
Another 6, so we'll keep going.
Compare that to
So
2024 under
if you want to
Biden,
watch
51,000
SummerSlam, let me
arrests in
know.
total, with 43% having criminal
I'm gonna
records.
send
So
Tyson
Biden
a
arrested
message
fewer
because he
people
likes to
overall,
watch
but
it.
Trump
He
is
likes
being
to
more
join the
strategic.
show.
He's
Like,
casting a
join me.
wider net while still prioritizing criminals. The Houston numbers are just part of this broader strategy. Instead of just waiting for criminals to commit more crimes, Trump's ICE is proactively hunting down known predators and removing them from American communities. And the American people support this approach. A new Wall Street Journal poll shows that 90% of Republican voters back Trump's approach, and 51% of all voters approve his handling of illegal immigration. Even more telling, 62% favor deporting undocumented immigrants. What's happening in Houston is just part of a broader Texas success story. Just this year, a statewide operation called Operation Shatiro Shield led to 244 arrests for child sex crimes and identified 109 child victims who were given resources.
An FBI task force revealed its statewide operation in Texas led to nearly 250 arrests and the identification of more than 100 child victims. Federal and local authorities.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
targeted
Tyson
alleged
to
child
join
sex
us.
criminals. This involves
I
70
gotta send
different
him a
agencies.
message.
When you combine federal immigration enforcement with
send him
state
a
and local
message.
law enforcement cooperation, you get results that actually protect children. The operation was specifically designed to identify children who were victims of online sexual exploitation and bring their predators to justice. They identified victims through images and videos and arrest hundreds of suspects for production, distribution, and possession of child sexual abuse material.
Operation Soteria Shield was a month-long operation conducted in April. The goal was to identify children who are victims of online sexual exploitation and bring their perpetrators to justice. 109 children were identified and given resources.
This is what happens when you have law enforcement that's allowed to do their job without political interference. Texas is leading the way in protecting children from predators, both online and through immigration enforcement. America, these numbers out of Houston tell a story that every parent in the country needs to understand. For 4 years under Biden's policy, known child sex offenders were being released into American communities through the catch and release program. Many of these predators have been deported multiple times and kept coming back because there were no real consequences. Trump changed that in one day. Now we have coordinated federal law enforcement operations targeting the worst criminals, rapid deportations within days of arrest, and multi-agency cooperation that's producing historic results. 214 child sex offenders arrested in Houston alone in 6 months, more than 100,000 total arrests nationwide. This is what happens when you have a president who actually cares about protecting American children instead of protecting the feelings of illegal immigrants. Most of mainstream media won't tell you this story because it proves Trump was right about the border crisis all along. They'd rather focus on manufactured outrage about family separation than rather celebrate the fact that we're actually removing child predators from American communities. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe. I need to get more subscribers. So like and subscribe and head over to Tyson De La Cruz and give him a like and subscribe. He's good, man. I like the direction he's going, the energy and the flow is good. So I want him to succeed, and he's gonna do very good, and I'm already proud of him, and it's just the beginning, and I'm proud of him because he's gonna get far. He's gonna get really good, and I see big things for him, very big things. But I'm gonna wrap it up because it's an early night tonight. I'm not feeling too good. I could feel the instability of storms coming. So I'm already feeling the aches and the pains and the teeth hurting and the bones hurting. That's arthritis and it's kicking my butt. Everything hurts in my body. So I know thunderstorms are coming tomorrow and it's going to be a big heavy rain event. Maybe some flooding here in Connecticut, because there's supposed to be a front that's passing through, but it's supposed to stall over Connecticut. So it's I don't know. It's going to be a lot of rain tomorrow. But that's why I did the show early, and I'm gonna get off early. But we're gonna check out. Let's check out the tropics before we leave. Right? Let's check it out. See what's happening. Let me set up. Oh, I can just do it right here. Cool. All right. We're going to first look at, and I'll move the camera over to what I'm looking at. But let me set it up first. I'm going to look at the Eastern Atlantic. So, okay. So let's go ahead and look together. It's the weather. And we're looking here at Africa. As you can see here, it's a big storm, like back here, huge. That's a juicy. I call this a juicy mama. This is a juicy mama fucker. It's so juicy, and it's gonna be coming right over through here into the Atlantic, and this is the system that was in Africa. So you can see like the dry air has like really got into the system. So you're not seeing so much flare up like how it initially was. Let's go and check out the central Atlantic. And these are initially two systems, because this was one right here, and then there's this one right here. You have a swirl right here. You see the swirl? That's an open low pressure system right here that you're seeing right here. And if this wakes up and storm starts developing around this thing, this could be the monster right here. The monster in the shadows. Like, because it doesn't have anything with it, right? It just has the rotation, and it looks like a pretty formal like rotation right here, and you can see it. You could see the outflow right here, and you can see the banding right here, but there's no storms in it. But if this gets consolidated in within this system here, and it pulls in the energy, I mean, this has a chance to get itself together by the time it gets northern Dominican Republic area, like closer to the Bahamas. So they still got to keep their eyes on this beast that's hiding. It's literally hiding. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's check out the Western Atlantic. See what's going on here. Cuba's getting a lot of rain. Cuba, it's a thunder. There's going to be a lot of lightning and thunder in Cuba, and Haiti too. Haiti, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Puerto Rico's not looking too bad. And let's check out. They still have Gulf of Mexico. It's Gulf of America. So tropical tidbits. I don't know what's going on with y'all, but it's now Gulf of America. A lot of rain in Louisiana. A lot of heavy rain, dense heavy rain, because you can see the white. The white is like cold cloud top, and that's just it's reaching very high, and the satellite's picking up, and that's very heavy rain. Okay, so Louisiana, y'all getting a lot of rain. Let's check out the United States before I go to the wide Atlantic. Actually, it's down here. Here we go. Let's check out the United States of America. And I see Louisiana getting holy smokes with rain. Oh, you guys are getting a lot of rain. Florida, you got pop-up storms all central from Lake Okeechobee all the way up to Jacksonville. Wow, you got Georgia, all everybody, even us here, we're the Northeast. We're being set up for something to stall out here over us, and we're supposed to get a lot of rain. So it's interesting how this looks right here, right? Like how it's like it's breathing. Like it looks like the like the mountains are breathing. Because look how it just pops up. Like it just flares up. It's so unique, man. The weather is so unique. And the energy, man. Louisiana, you guys are getting a lot of rain tonight. Oof, you're getting rain. At least you're not getting that heat. Because it's raining, so it cools down when it rains. And this part of a system that keeps rotating here. This is like the third or fourth time a system comes through here, but it comes like it rotates like clockwise, and it's been like the first two was coming out through the waters, and they've been like we're watching it. They didn't name it or anything, but the rotation is you can see the spin here. You can see like the spin. So it's like storms keeps coming up and then going down and then redeveloping and then coming back over here, just dumping a lot of rain. So yeah, between you guys and Missouri there, you guys are gonna get a lot of rain. So just yeah, just be ready for that. Let's check out the Atlantic. Let's check out the whole Atlantic. Let me just go right to the Atlantic, the wide. Here we go. So this is what we're looking at in the tropics. And as you can see, this big, you can see this, it looks huge, right? Because it's like, but that's like dry air wrapped into it. So it's not really much that, it's not favorable right now because there's so much dry air and the Saharan dust. It's all around this area. So it's really like drying it out. But it's going to get into an area that is going to be favorable for this system to get its act together. And then you have high pressure that's right here that's dominating right now. It's like the Bermuda High. And you can see it's pushing downwards, and you can see the flare of these systems here that it's just pushing downwards, but it's not really going anywhere. Because high pressure is going to do is it's going to push it more towards like going towards the west, and it could push it right into Florida. Like this system, if it gets its act together, especially like around here, like around Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, this is going to be one to really watch. It could be very dangerous. I mean, I did talk about a hurricane hitting Miami, right? I mean, when was the last time they actually got hit like head on with a hurricane? It's been a very long time. The close call, Hurricane Andrew was the strongest one, which was the Cat 5 from 1992. And then, you got Wilma that went by there, and it was really strong. I remember that storm that my car I had a SUV. I had a Honda Passport at the time. So SUV, and the wind was like pushing that fucking shit. I was like, oh man, I was so happy when I got home because I was like, man, the highway was like, the car was being pushed all over the place because of the wind. So by the time I got home, I was happy when I got home, but then my place was just like moving too because the winds were really strong. It was like a developing system. And sometimes it doesn't matter. Like Florida doesn't really like stop the development. The system will develop over the damn Florida. It's just because the Florida is so like it sticks out, between the Mexico and the Atlantic. So it's like it sticks out. You would think that Florida gets hit by a lot more, storms. But let's see this year. I mean, we're still in the beginning, phase of the hurricane season, and I'll be keeping tabs on it. I will. This right here is very ominous, because I didn't expect it to be like, category 5 coming off of Africa. No, it's going to struggle. Like, this is the struggling. This is just, but it's still having its rotation. It still has its like formation. It just doesn't have any storms around it because it's dry at the moment. It's dry air and Saharan dust. It's really like dampering, and it's not favorable right now. But there's going to be a moment when it gets closer that it gets favorable. And then it starts developing the storm starts developing around it, and then it gets like crazy explosion system, and the waters are ready for it. So the temperature's right with the waters. It's just the dry air and the Saharan dust is messing with it, but it is going to get into a favorable area, and we'll see from there. This is something that we're going to be talking about in the next few days, actually like 3 to 4 days from now. It's be one to watch. We'll watch it every day, and then we'll keep track. That'll be the end of the show. Appreciate you guys coming through. I'll be, you're cool. And everyone else watching and rewatching, I truly appreciate it. And we'll do this again tomorrow. And I'm doing an early show because I want to get to bed early. The thunderstorms, my body, the way it feels, I don't want to be sitting here for long. I'm really hurting. So with that said, have a good night and good morning and good afternoon wherever you're at. And then I'll catch you on the flip side. And we'll see about tomorrow, like what time I come on. Maybe I come on a little earlier because I'm going to get to bed early. So I would like to do an early show just to talk about like what happened today and overnight. Because every day is a new day, and things happen all over around the world. I mean, there's always something happening. And lately, it's been pretty bumpy with the earthquake, and that's going to react with other things that are going on in the earth. That 8.8 could really set up Los Angeles, maybe California, for a big earthquake. It's moving. Things are moving, and things are happening in our solar system that we're not paying attention to. A lot of people are not paying attention to it, but it's all you guys, not me. I know what's going to happen. I'm rooting for the asteroid. So we can all go together. That would be so awesome. Other than that, have a good night. Appreciate it so much. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace for now. Bye.